And Heather, for those of us who aren't familiar with the Lucky Few, maybe you can just give us a bit of background on how that started and yourself.
Definitely. So I am a wife to my husband, Josh. We have three kids who are almost 15, 12, and 9. And my oldest and my youngest both have Down syndrome, who came to me through adoption. And once they entered my life, everything changed forever. And I will say with confidence for the better. Macy, my oldest, she came home right around the time Instagram started. And I realized that I had had this narrative in my head about who Macy was, who a person with Down syndrome was that was not connected to an actual person with Down syndrome. And it was negative and terrifying and devastating, this idea of having a child with Down syndrome, that diagnosis. And then I had a child with Down syndrome, and I realized that was so false and incredibly harmful. And there needed to be a shift in the narrative. And so for me, that looked like sharing our story, like sharing a picture a day of Mason on Instagram. And I had a moment one day at the park where I looked around. She was toddling, maybe, probably just scooting on her booty at the time. And I thought, she's the only kid here with Down syndrome. I feel so unbelievably lucky that she's mine. And that kind of started this phrase, the lucky few, which I started using as a hashtag almost 10, 11 years ago. And pretty quickly, the Down syndrome community picked it up and adopted it as for their own, and could really relate to the feeling of there's few of us who love someone with Down syndrome. There's few people who have Down syndrome. And those of us who do there's like this sense of we're really lucky to get to know this different kind of life. And it just took off. And so it started about 10 years ago, and then it's became my brand, The Lucky Few. My first book that came out was called The Lucky Few. A tattoo has been born, arrows, called The Lucky Few Tattoo. I have a nonprofit, The Lucky Few Foundation.